Testing, testing, you guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know if my voice is loud enough. Let me know about the desktop music. What's going on? What's going on? Let me know. Wait a few minutes for others to probably join. Although I don't usually get more than maybe like 3 to 5 people coming in. And it is pretty early. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? See, everything is okay. I'll lower the music a little bit. All is good? All right, cool. Great, awesome. So forgiveness for last time with the family calling me for a good 2 hours. It was something else. But hopefully this week was not crazy for you guys. Yeah, it's been crazy for some people, but hopefully those of us in this group, we're doing okay. It has been kind of noisy in my neighborhood, so sorry if you start to hear some strange things. Hopefully you don't hear anything. It's like leftover fireworks, and let me see, just gotta move this up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, leftover fireworks and junk like that. But yeah, so welcome to the live stream. As I said, this will probably be about anywhere from maybe 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, depending on how many requests I have. And this came about to the fact that I was thinking that I should get into streaming more. It's been so long since I've streamed, to the point that the actual streaming like programs have changed quite a bit since I've last streamed, and I'm hoping to get back into this to a month. So if you have any thoughts or questions, let me know. But yeah, like I said, this is a request stream. Once a request comes in, I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate that real quick. But I'll be here. So how are you guys doing? How's your arts been doing? Someone's here. Let's see, what's his name? Tresser Irumva. You haven't drawn before, but you're on an art channel. It is what it is. It's never too late to start, and I also find it kind of therapeutic sometimes. I think a lot of people find art therapeutic. So what I'm gonna work right now is just make a quick artwork for some tutorials that I'm planning. So far I have 18 out of 22 videos prepared or ideas coming to mind. So if you have maybe a longer thought, a longer topic, we could work on that too. But until then, yeah, I'm just gonna do a demonstration right here. I always draw girls. It's because I don't draw guys as often. So it's kind of, plus fashion wise, I do prefer drawing girls. But see, this is what happens when you just jump right into the deep end without a plan. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do some gestures just so I know what I want my characters to look like, or what I want this drawing to be of. I'm always having my characters just standing around when I don't know what to draw. Okay, so let's see. I have a question on line art. I really want to know how I can blend the line art colors with the actual painting or colors inside the drawing. Like, I don't want it just black. Okay, so I can interpret that question in several ways. It's either A, you want a colored line art, or B, you want to not have, you want a line artwork without lines. I will say I'm not that great at it as doing artwork without lines, but I can show you colored line art. So since I have to honestly, maybe I should just do a self-project. I'm just gonna do a draw. I'm gonna show you. I'll just do a self-drawing of what I'm wearing, cause it's winter. You know, it's winter. So let me do that, and I'll go ahead and do go ahead and do this quick as also, but so I'll go ahead and work on that line art. If there's any other artwork requests or suggestions, let me know. In the meantime, like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly draw a character, and I just decided to just do a self portrait, because when it comes to like demonstrating, sometimes trying to like overthink about what you want the characters to look like, or designing characters and stuff, or drawing like an illustration gets to be kind of like distracting, when all you need to do is just to demonstrate what you're doing, and then it end up making the videos really long, which I've gotten that kind of comment quite a bit. So I won't do that anymore. I won't do that anymore. I'll keep my drawings for myself, and I'll share it with you guys, but in terms of like actual original drawings, like for the sake of purpose of showing people, will be different. So all right, so we have that, and my bonnet, because it's winter time. All right, so let me go ahead and lighten this up real quick. You're gonna see all the cheats that I do. I mean, it's not really cheats, but it gets the point across. It gets the point across. I'm gonna make this a little lighter. Hopefully you can still see it, even though I'm working on it, but yeah. All right. And that's the other thing, is when you're demonstrating, like, I'm actually not a fast drawer, so there's going to be like anatomical corrections that needs to be done that people will catch when I'm doing my videos. And again, it's because the purpose of my videos are not really to like draw pretty, unless that's the whole point, is for me to draw pretty. You know what I mean? So I just want to get something for you guys, so things won't be really as correct or as thought out if I were doing like a comic book page, which I had a question about that, if I'm going to do comics, and I will. It's just for not this year. This year I want to work on actual writing a bit. So I actually can draw hands. They just take a bit to think about it. They just take a bit to think about it. So it's like, it's just annoying to not to do them really. They just are what they are. You know what I mean? So, all right. Actually, I'm wearing a robe. Never mind. Let me do this. I wear robes a lot during winter, so let me go ahead and add a robe in. There you go. Nothing like a nice quick robe, so I can get to the line art portion of this and get this in. So okay. Oh, hi, by the way, Naftali, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name well, but yeah, it's good to see you. You've been commenting quite regularly, so I'm glad you're here. Let me know if you have any requests. I'm just getting over to doing some quick drawing, just a self-portrait. Seriously, if you see me, you think I'm like an old Ajuma or some like old lady. I mean, I am 32, so I guess I'm old-ish. I'm an old millennial. All right. Let's do some faces here. By the way, I'm planning to do a second channel because I decided I want to do my like vlog and day in the life type channel, and I want to separate it from this channel, since I want to keep this as an art channel, but I haven't started that channel yet. So here's a good thing, how to draw hats, because this is drawn incorrectly. This sometimes it's just based on you watching reference for a long time, then you notice, oh, this doesn't look right. it is what it is. Sometimes it's just practice. You can't get past it. It's just practice. All right. Okay. There you go. I think that's good, right? That's good enough for you guys. Let's get towards some line art. And then I have very big fuzzies. Like, very big. Like, ginormous. I purposely get, like, extra big size fuzzy slippers. Alright. So. And then there's pockets on my things. Alright, there you go. Okay. Let's do some line art, shall we, folks? As far as sometimes, a lot of times people have asked questions about brushes, and it's not just for me, but for whatchamacallit, other people would ask that. In Photoshop, at least, there is a brush tool, or there's like a brush pack that comes now with Photoshop. He used to sell it independently, but basically you just go into like your brushes, tools, options, and it says right here, like, get more brushes, and then from there, like, Adobe will pop up and whatnot. And I think most other art programs are pretty good at the basics anyways. So, and it's fine if you just use the default, default hard brush, like, it's fine. And then I'm turning off opacity, and then right here where it says smoothing, that's your what you call it? It's like your pen stabilizer. It's Photoshop's version of a pen stabilizer, but the higher you put it, the more lag it has. So I tend to just put it really low, like extremely low, just to clean up the jitters. And right now I'm working on a pen tablet, so that kind of thing. So okay, let me go ahead and tone this really quick. This looks so cartoony. Let's see here. Get this in. So I know some of you have started drawing and some of you haven't. It's the new year. Any other plans for working on your artwork, or no? Let me move some of this stuff better. These adjustments, don't worry about it. It's just me. It's just me, really. It's just me being finicky. It is just me being finicky with my tools. All right. And honestly, getting better at inking is just practice anyways. Just getting used to your tools. There's no really real reason to like try to get all fancy with it. Oh, what happened? Oh, what happened? Why won't it? Oh, that's what I did. See, even me, who's used to something, makes problems. My little chubby face. I have been losing weight, ironically. It wasn't a New Year's resolution because I've started a while, maybe 3 years ago, to try and lose some weight. But, well, I guess there'll be more on that on my other channel once I get to it. There's been other ideas, like for my video, I have quite a bit of video ideas. How to draw folds, the toning, the everything, a lot of things, just a lot of things. Just like I said, I have like 18 filled out out of the 20 that I'm doing this year. So if you guys have any other maybe longer requests that might take a while for me to do, there's like 2 or 3 more slots left. So, and I made these angles a little bit too So you're working on a story, May? I'm working on script writing for now, because I think it took me 2 years to just get like 60 pages of Oya Claire done. And I stopped working on Cross Star. I'm going to redo it because I can tell already that I was like hitting like a wall, that it's a challenge for me. Like I want to do better with my story writing, right? Because that was like the critique that everyone gave me for Eau Claire. And I know it was going to be that, because even I kind of like, when you're doing something that's off or it's wrong or it's not working, but you could push yourself through it. But at the end of the day, there's just something that just like, it's like when you cook a meal that's edible, you don't have a problem with it necessarily, but it doesn't really call you to eat it. You know what I mean? It's like that. So I've just kind of stopped on that for that reason, and going towards actual writing out the script this year. I just wasn't feeling the characters, and if I'm not feeling the characters, I could only imagine like people reading it wasn't into it. You know what I mean? Like, and it shows too, because like people will read like 1 or 2 pages and be like, okay, let me try something else that tickles my fancy. And when you're limited on time or you have so many options to choose, like, you want to read something that's fun for you. You know what I mean? So I say that's what's gonna happen, and things like that. I know I had a lot of subscribers come in because of the 100 days of making comments, which I eventually want to do, but how should I say this? Let's just say every 20 to 25 days or so, there's like a whole week where I'm not capable of doing much of anything for long periods of time. If you catch my drift. So doing something for 100 days straight, other people have done it, but for some reason, it's like, and it's not so much that I feel like a failure. It's more like, the only way to get stronger is to improve is to push yourself, right? You go to the gym, you could pick up 5 pounds. Like, you can't be picking up 5 pounds forever, or else you'll stagnate. So that's how I see it. So anatomically, I know this is wrong, but we're gonna keep going, because this is what I'm saying. Like, when you're demonstrating something, you just kind of like get to the point. Because if any of you guys have seen my comics before, my inking is a lot cleaner and takes forever. But we're not planning to be here forever, are we, guys? I mean, I know we have quite great of affection, but no amount of love will keep us here for like this late. Unless you really want to. I can't. I actually didn't sleep quite well last night, so I consider this is pushing myself too. Baggy clothes for the win, yo. I didn't ask a direct question, just in general. Tell me more about the projects you guys are working on, so I could have something to chat about, and just to understand more about what my watchers are, maybe going through or working on, just to build some sort of camaraderie, community, that kind of thing. Just knowing what people are working on. That's all. I understand, May, when you get that creative itch to do something. I will say, while you're in high school is probably the best time to do it, because once you hit like past college, not even past college, halfway through college, when you start adulting and all that junk, well, if you're fortunate enough, because there are some young people who go through quite a bit of things early on in their life, but once halfway through college passed, like, you really need to make time to do anything for yourself. It's not like you're gonna get more time once you become an adult, and other things get in the way. In my case, I work almost like a full-time job. Well, no, I do work a full-time job. Fortunately, I guess nowadays, fortunately, I work a full-time job that requires drawing. So I actually been sitting at the computer since I woke up this morning, and then I just took a short break and then got back on this. So tomorrow will probably be my first day out of the whole week that I haven't been in front of the computer, even though I do have some like YouTube edits to do. So take advantage of the time as you can. For some reason, once I hit like, yeah, it was the same for me. Once I hit the second year of college, it was like, compared to how much art that I used to do on a daily basis, like I literally would just wake up and do a full illustration. Just wake up at 8 and just sit at the computer on a weekend or whatever, and either do a full illustration or just like write a whole entire chapter of a story at that time. Just, you know, sit there and do it. But then again, I'm sure high school of your right now is very different than high school at my time, even though I'm only 32. Like, just hearing the stuff my cousins are going through, like, that stuff is annoying. Golly. Man, the hustle is what the hustle is. Okay. Let me go ahead and save this. Tutorial. I am so creative right now. Okay. See, I've also been having slight computer issues lately. I have to go get it and get it worked on. Yep, it did this. What's it doing right now is just like Photoshop is not registering that I need to work on a file sometimes. So you have to like open it and reopen it. I don't know why it does that. It does whatever it wants to do. I'll get that fixed eventually. It probably means I need another motherboard, because buying a new computer is definitely out of the question, y'all. Not that I need to, because I had bought this maybe 4 years ago with a decent amount of specs. So the specs are fine. I just need to just go in and just update the drive. So look at me drawing eyelashes. I'm not that cute. I'm just average. All right. Put some hair here. Put some hair here. I naturally draw really harsh lines, trying to like keep to like the curve. All right, and here's my bonnet, because while I am working at home, my natural hair will stay under this silk bonnet. And if you don't know what natural hair means, it means African American hair that hasn't been processed to be straight likes to get dry, especially during winter. In fact, even if you're not African American but you have curly hair, I suggest you keep it in a bonnet. There you go. All right, I think that's done. Yep. Okie dokie. So let's do this demonstration. I made my bottom, trust me, my hip is not that big, but you're just gonna have to accept it, okay? All right. All right. So colored line art. Because I did this digitally, this is a bit of a cheat, really. In most programs, not just Photoshop, you can like lock the transparency. So if you look to the right here, see it says lock transparent pixels. So once that happens, you literally could change it to any color you want. So say I want it red, there's red. You know, say I want a green, it's green. So it's pretty simple. If this was scanned, there's a lot of methods for if it was scanned, but let's say it was scanned, then what you'd want to do, let's see. This is the thing, like, that's the thing about when it comes to art and programs. You do a lot of problem solving. If there was scanned and you still had the white on it, I'm going to pretend like that's what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. Right. Okay. So I'm pretending that this right here was scanned. What I tend to do is pick a color, and right here in the brushes mode, which again, every like program has a version of this, so I try to keep my tutorials pretty open unless I very specify that this is a Photoshop only tutorial. But your brushes will have different ways of blending and stuff like that, or sometimes they'll have a separate tool that does it. So you could do overlay, and you can kind of see, let me zoom in, that the colors changed up. You can do screen, and it changed it up. The only thing is you could only do it once you get to like black, because then if you do that, then it does like weird things to it, like, so you could do that. What else you could also do, let me undo this real quick, is adjust the hue and saturation. Every program has like a hue and saturation adjustment. So you can colorize it, you can screen it, just mess around with this until you find what other color you want, and from there you can go ahead and adjust it. So you got that. You can set the brushes to color, and you have that. That's the thing, like, there's so many ways to color line art that has been the one thing that I think a lot of people have asked, and it's not, it's not really, there's multiple ways of doing it, and it's not hard. It's just, I think you might feel a bit intimidated by the program. Don't be intimidated. The program doesn't bite. If you make a mistake, the beautiful thing about digital art is you could just edit, undo, or rescan your artwork, or let's say I had colors, like, right? You could also set your line art to like multiply, screen, overlay, line, whatever, and then you could just lower the opacity. So as you paint, you just slowly disappear the line, and then on top of that, you can go ahead and you can just go ahead, let's see, normal, and just paint on top of it. Let me see here. Trippy. Make this smaller. There you go. Alright, let's say, yeah, and just paint on top of it until it goes away, kind of. There you go. And that's pretty much what you do. You just paint on it until it goes away, kind of. That's like the very quick way of doing it. And over time, you just kind of practice on how you do it. It's not, again, it's one of those things that if you were to take a paintbrush in real life, this is what you'd basically be doing, is just painting it on top of each other until you get what you need to do. So you just keep going until you get what you needed to do, basically. And that's kind of it. And that gets a little bit, after practicing a little bit, then after that, it's not the program that's getting to you. It's you understanding color and light and shadow, which is a very long topic. I can give you some suggestions on books, but really it's just painting from reference. So it's nothing other, that special. So. Let's see. Less sharp without having to redo it. What do you mean by less sharp without having to redo it? You mean like painting over? Could you give me a little bit more description? Ah, okay. Neftali, I see you have like a long form type of comic. That's quite. Yeah, I want to make a long form comic so bad, but the desire is greater than my body is willing to sit down and do it. I should just accept to not be impatient and actually go through making the work. You know what I mean? Like, I have so many ideas. Anyways. To blur or blend out the lines without having to handle it. May, that's the thing. Like, sometimes people misunderstand that the art programs makes things automatic, and it's not. To get a lineless or color lineless type artwork, you actually have to think like a painter and actually paint out the lines. You can't, like, there's no way you could like avoid it. You know what I mean? Like, I would just say copy the line art and like turn off that layer just in case. But after that, it's just you blending it out. Maybe come closer. Like, I know Clip Studio has a blending type option. But the only other thing I can think of from what you're asking is like coming in closer with the blend tool and then just slightly blend out the edges and try not, or soften, like just slowly, just lightly blend it out without you messing up with, without you going overboard, basically. Yeah. In fact, what is it? Clip Studio probably, I know Clip Studio and like Paint Tool Sai has a better, blenders to begin with, but like, so like for example, this ended up being too strong. I would just lessen up, make it lighter, and I know they have different options for that. So, and I know there's like a lot of Japanese like artists, and I don't know so much Korean artists, but there's a lot of Japanese artists and manga that does Manga Studio, because that's what it's called over there. I don't know if they now call it Clip Studio. Ibis Paint also has it, but yeah, like there's no real avoidance of doing it by hand. Like, the best digital art that you see being done on the internet, these are people who think like painters. They have to be done, like, you have to do some of it by hand. There's no if, ands, or about it. Like, for example, if I did my line art thicker, which usually is what I do tend to do my line art pretty thick. So, right? Maybe something like this, but again, it's not like, if that makes any sense. There's, to an extent, there's really no avoidance of just giving that hand touch. That's what makes art in its point. Like, there's no, you can't make it automatic. It will always look like it was done in a filter if you don't touch it at all, kind of thing. So okay. Yeah, it's really, once you know your actual fundamentals, a tool is a tool. I think I had a friend who was really awesome with ink, like the actual nib inks, like the dip pens inks and watercolors, and she's never touched Photoshop, but she draws so well that, and since I use both traditional media and digital media, I basically told her, like, okay, I taught her how to use Photoshop enough for her to do what she needs to do in 2 hours. Because once you know how to draw and you understand color and paint, that's it. After that, the rest of it is you just getting to know a little bit more of the tools, the same way when you first picked up watercolor. You understand the basics, and then over time, you just learn how to do it. You know, you practice it. There's no avoidance about that kind of thing. So, you know, it's like when I see some questions online, how do you draw shadow? How do you do this? And it's like, at the end of the day, like, the digital media will only do so much. You need to understand how the actual, you need to know your fundamentals. It's the same thing where other people have seen my digital art and I replicated watercolor. It's like, why does it look so real? And it's because I've actually played with watercolor. I know how it's supposed to end up looking like, versus just putting you know, watercolor texture filter over it. It will never look as well. I knew of a gentleman, he did like full-on digital oil painting, and you wouldn't know that it wasn't oil painting, and he printed it really large, like from the height of a whole room wall. And it's not until you get like maybe a foot close to it do you start to see the hard edge brushes and like, oh, it's digital, but it looks like an oil painting, because in his sketchbook he's painting with oils, so of course he made the program look the way he wanted to look like. Whereas me, I'm not used to oil painting, so no amount of me doing it digital, I can come closer than maybe some other person, but I will never be as good as someone who's used to what a digital painting is supposed to look like. So yeah, that's a good point, about breaking down a large like comic book story into a smaller segment. Uh, that's what I'm gonna do for this year. Really, just work on that. So, okay. Back to another thing. Let's work on a bit more on this inking right here, because now I want to do it more like manga or comic book, black and white comic book style, I guess. So these layers are just me copying the line art, so I have something in case I make either a mistake or I just want to do a different kind of demos. So because let's see here, I should probably make a little miniature tutorial on how to make custom brushes too, because sometimes even though the default brushes are great, I do make like a lot of adjustments and stuff like that to them. So I think that would be a good little tutorial, because I think nowadays there haven't been like that many new like how to make custom brushes and things like that in a while, and Photoshop have changed quite a bit to be a bit more like Illustrator friendly. So right now I'm just adding in some spot blacks or black shading and stuff like that before I add real shade. And I think I should actually, I'm writing this down, what I should probably do for videos in the future. So again, if you guys have a request, it's not just me making a demo here or just me drawing. If any of you guys have an art request, this is the time to do it. And also tell me about your thoughts about this stream. I'm thinking of doing it once a month and get it on schedule. And maybe it'll be Friday afternoons, or if weekdays are better, or if weekends are better, let me know what's like a better time for you guys. So I'm gonna write this down. Custom brushes. And adding black shading to your line art. Coloring your line art. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Instead of doing this, I'm gonna go and use the lasso tool. If I'm doing like comics really quick, which is rare, I do tend to use the lasso tool quite a bit. I like using the lasso tool. It just makes things so much simpler. So I made there's like maybe a handful, like maybe a half a dozen of videos that got really that got a lot of reach on YouTube. I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing. Who knows about this year? Like I said, I'm mostly considering it a hobby and just go with the flow kind of thing, but and go back and enjoying actually working on it. But one of the things that I've gotten was that my manga toning tutorial was how should I say, was apparently too complicated or all over the place. And I'm real sorry about that. It's just, you know, I've been doing it for so long and my brain is pretty, not scattered, but it is constant flow of thoughts that sometimes I don't catch myself. And I'm, you know, in the midst of me creating the video, I'm like, oh, and this and this and that and this and that and this. For some reason, I sound more perky than I actually am in real life. There's a couple of times you might find me catch me on a hyper day, but for the most part, I'm a pretty chill person. I tell you what, right now I'm working on a screen tablet, and it's kind of, I don't know. I spent so many years learning on a hand-free tablet that even with the screen tablet now, I think I might end up selling like my screen tablet and just go back to a regular hand tablet. I just don't have the desk space to care for it now. And I still find myself looking back at the screen, because the thing is, like, the screen tablets, unless you have a Cintiq, which I don't, the color difference is the color difference is enough for me to notice. And having my neck, like having myself looking down versus looking up, is really getting on my neck, because, you know, if you're doing this for hours, this can hurt. This reminds me why I never like staying on the Cintiq for a long time. Now that I have the actual program with me, I'm reminded why I don't, you know, why I don't do it as much. So, but who knows? I might do a comparison video of the pros and cons of having a Cintiq or a screen tablet versus just having like a handheld tablet. It depends on how you work, I think. Is it possible to take a digital tutorial and turn it into a tradition and learn from it traditionally? It depends on what the tutorial is about. For example, I watch a lot of digital tutorials on coloring, because what I'm actually learning is more about shading and stuff like that. And vice versa, I can take a traditional tutorial and apply it digitally. The things that is probably not as easy to do is when it's like special effects, like, you know, real airbrush or digital airbrush is hard to replicate in real life unless you actually have an airbrush machine. And even then, like, the texture of an airbrush machine won't be exact. So the only time really you can translate between the two is if they're teaching you fundamentals, you know, how to draw poses. Well, whether you draw by hand or not, it's the same. Or like you see me inking these black, this extra thick lines, you can do that with a real, you know, actual pen. It doesn't change it. But any kind of special effects kind of stuff, not necessarily. If it's fundamentals, yes, but special effects, no. How to screen tone, yes, except for certain effects. Like, there's some digital screen tones that, unless a manufacturer has it, you'd have to make it on the computer anyways, you know. But again, you know, painting, coloring, drawing, design, that it doesn't matter what tools you use for those things. So I'm making this thing a little bit too dark. I did. Oh well, it's a black robe now. Even though I actually, whatchamacallit, wear a white robe. So there is a method to drawing with like the ink versus, to shading light, like light line art versus, you know, a stronger colored line art. But that's just. I won't go over it again too much here because I do already have a video about that, about inking. It's on my channel if you're curious, but Again, I'm going to try for this year to go for like shorter, straight to the point type tutorials. Because again, I confuse people and I don't mean to. So I'm just preparing this before I get into demonstrate how I do the toning. And what I'm going to do after the live stream is take this and record and split up the thing. So let's see, that should do it. I honestly like the lasso tool better for shading sometimes. It's such a cheat, but it gets the job done for basic things and stuff. There's oh, have a good night, May. I'm probably gonna go to bed pretty early myself after this because we've been on for 45 minutes. So yeah, I think another 30 minutes and I should be good to go. Okay. That's the other thing, if it should be like earlier in the day, because I think 7:30, 7:45 might be like too close to dinner, because I know a lot of people eat dinner pretty late. I don't. I personally don't, but I know a lot of people who do. Although I think I could go for some... I've been on this really strong like fried chicken binge, yo. Fried chicken and pizza. Fortunately, I still am losing some weight. It's just slow and steady, but man, I've been in such a strong like fried chicken and pizza like craving, like there's no tomorrow, man. Okay, I think I could get this. Here's the other thing, like using like a screen tablet doesn't necessarily mean that it matches to your paper, because no joke, I probably have to readjust this thing again. Every time you move the tablet, you have to readjust the alignment and calibration and junk, and it's on my nerves. It's really on my nerves. It defeats the purpose. When you can get yourself a nice little cheapy tablet for under $100, that spending the $300 to get this, in my personal opinion, is not needed. It's not that it's not worth it, because again, it's different per person, but it just feels like it's not needed and stuff like that. So okay, let's get there. Have I ever made my own 3D models, or have you used someone else's? So when I was in college, my first major was animation, and as soon as we got into 3D, I switched majors so fast, it was like the next day, like, yo, it was no. The closest that I've done with 3D is just like the pose makers, like the programs that already have models in them and you use them for poses. I might do a bit for buildings, but for buildings and backgrounds, instead of doing 3D, I honestly just rather just like get a photo from a magazine to use as a base, like to help me know where to set up my perspective grid, and then after that I just like nope. My brain just does not want to. It just doesn't want to. I don't know why, but my brain doesn't want to. I just don't. I rather sit there. I mean, at the same time, especially when you're drawing like really organic things like bushes and trees and cobblestone buildings, like having the lines being exactly the same, it looks so awkward. You have to end up drawing over it anyways. But that's me. That's me again. The only thing that I can see myself forcing myself to learn 3D is if I'm going to make more mechs. But even then, I think I'd rather just have someone, I'd rather just pay someone to commission someone to draw a mech for me. Not to draw, to make a 3D mech and then just import it into Photoshop or something. But yeah, no. I don't like using 3D. I find it obnoxiously annoying to use. My brain doesn't go there. Stuff like that. Alright. Okay. I'm telling you, there's like a rhyme. There's a method to the madness to this. Okay. And again, let me know if my voice is too low or too loud. The mic is not right in front of me, so I don't know how much my computer mic is picking up. Okay. Alright, let's do this. Okay. And then my undershirt. There you go. I'm getting a bit sketchy, huh? You'd think my stomach is like that pudgy. It is on days that I eat too much fried chicken and chips. Nothing gets me going as much as them salt and vinegar chips, yo. I like vinegar taste. Ugh. My love for vinegar is pretty strong. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I made like one sleeve darker than the other. All of a sudden. Let me just go ahead and fix that part. That's the other thing is like when you're working on digital art, sometimes you don't notice the balance of the artwork, so you have to like go in and like correct yourself. Right now I'm just correcting like the balance between the other side. Because I need to make this a little bit darker. Okay. That works. That works. Good. Alright, we good. We good? We good. We good. I think we are. Yes. Cool. Alright. Let me go ahead and set this for recording. Start recording. Okay, so I had so many questions that confused people about this. How to tone, how to manga tone, how to add screen tones, and all this good jazz. So what I am going to go ahead and do, save this. To make it super simple, this is super simple method. Straightforward. And instead, I'll chop up the videos to slowly build you up to different methods. But this is the straightforward method. What you want to do is open a file, 300, a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. Preferably at least, you know, letter size or bigger if you can handle it. But I don't think you need to make it that much bigger than letter size. So letter size, grayscale. If it's not in grayscale, you could always change it. So there, boom. New file, right? And again, image mode, grayscale. It's on grayscale. We got that? We got that? Cool. Great. Now, pick a shade of gray, and you're going to make multiple of these. So just pick one shade of gray, and then you could change the shade of gray, and then you could save these. So you take one shade of gray, right? Okay? Cool. And then you fill the whole canvas that shade of gray. Hopefully, this is making sense so far, right? Right? Okay, we fill this canvas of gray. This is a grayscale document. Again, reiterating that it needs to be image mode grayscale, right? This is strictly for Photoshop. I don't know enough about other programs. A lot of them have their own screen tone, but we got it in gray. Cool. I'm going to zoom in. It's just a solid gray, right? Then image mode, again, right here, image mode, bitmap. All right, this screen pops up. It says input 300, output 300, keep it 300, don't change those part. The part that you want to change right here is right here where it says method, right? halftone screen. Okay, cool. Sometimes it comes up with all these different kind of numbers. Now here, listen up real quick. The angle at 45, keep it at 45. Don't ever change that. Let's keep it simple. Don't ever change the angle right here. Leave it at 45. And if it comes up as a different number, make it 45. The shape here, the shape is how the little dots pop up. And if you want to be fancy, you can do diamond or whatever. But typical screen tones are just round. So round. Frequency. Now, this part is not complicated. Frequency is how rough or how much of the dots you can see from afar. So if you look at like girls manga or shoujo manga from early 2000s and in the 90s, you could really see like the dot pixels. Like you could really see it because I think that was the limitation of the printer. So if you really want like that old, you know, that old 90s manga look or that girls look, you know, shoujo, shonen manga look, you can do that. Now, if you look at a lot of manga, it looks like the gray is very smooth because one, the printer can handle it, and two, more and more comic artists are using digital tones, so you don't have that problem of scanning them in and it not looking right. But I would suggest, if you're starting out, to keep it at 70. 70 is pretty balanced. So I just keep it at 70. And if you're making more shades of gray, shades of gray. If you're making more shades of gray, just make sure that these are exactly the same in all the shades of gray, or else you'll have some funny business going on when you try to like put the two, blend them together on your artwork. So to keep it simple and to keep this tutorial short, halftone screen, frequency at 60, angle at 45, shape at round. We're good? Okay. Bam! We got halftone screen. Like, bam! There you go. And you zoom out. Doesn't it look like a screen tone? Yes? Yes. So just to show you what I meant by changing the frequency, right? I'll show you what happens when you change this, what's the point of the frequency. So right now, all I did was edit undo. Don't worry about it. All I did was edit undo. So again, I'm going to show you. You go to, from the grayscale, you go from image, mode, bitmap, 300 DPI, halftone screen. Okay. Now let's say I wanted 53. Now, with a little bit of advance, where am I getting these frequency numbers? If you've ever purchased screen tones online, and even if you never purchase it, they will tell you what it is. And they usually call it, as you can see right here, it says line/inch. So it would say like 60 Li or 53 Li or 72 Li. That's to let you know what the frequency are. So because these things were created originally on the computer anyway, so that's where I get those numbers. So if ever that occurs to you, but honestly, if this is your first time making screen tones, keep to 60. Okay, so we got at 53. Don't worry about this. It's very minute, actually. You can't see it as much, but that's the other thing. It's very minute. Maybe 53 wasn't the best. You'll excuse me. Sometimes doing these tutorials, you're like, aha. So let's try something a bit more apparent. Let's see if 42 will make a difference. Oh yeah, that made a bigger difference. So there you go. It might seem really minute, but it's like the dots are a little bit tighter packed. So that's basically what happens. Like the higher the frequency, the tighter packed the dots will be, and the smoother the gray will be. But if you want more of that manga tone texture to show up when you go to print your artwork, then you lower the frequency, and that's basically what it is. But usually the average is about yeah, between 40 and 70. So again, you're a beginner, let's just keep it to 60, okay? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this. So you finished making your solid gray tone dot, right? Awesome. So you're gonna go ahead and save your thing for future use, right? And we're just gonna name it something that's easy for you. Medium gray. Gray. Nice. You can save it as a PDF. You can save it as a TIFF. Just don't. You can save it as a PNG, but don't ever save it as a JPEG. Just don't. Don't ask me why. Just don't save it as a JPEG. Okay? Cool. Awesome. Great. Great. I am going to go ahead and make a different shade right now. Right. I am going to go for a lighter shade. I think that's light enough, right? I think that's a good light. Okay. And then again. All right, we're going to save this to light gray. Light gray. Ooh. And then I'm going to make another shade. And let's make it super dark gray. Okay. Image mode, bitmap. Again, always make sure your file is starting on a grayscale. If it's not, turn it grayscale, then pick your gray, then go to bitmap when you're done. Okay. All right, I saved this one to dark gray. Yeah, gray. Awesome. Cool. Great. Awesome. Now, right? We have all these files. So how do you use your files? Let's see. So you open up your file. In this case, I'm just going to open all of them. Medium gray. And then you just copy and paste. Simple, right? Simple. Cool. So if your line art is underneath, then you just set it to multiply, set the tone to multiply. Or in my case, since I did it digitally, I just put it underneath my line art. Okay? We good? Now this is a crucial, special step. And this is the last step. You have the option of erasing everything you don't need. Or what I like to do is if you look down here, it says layer mask. And then this whiteboard comes up. Have that whiteboard selected versus not selected right here. You see? Got that whiteboard selected. And then fill it with black. And then with the whiteboard still selected, paint in with white. It's basically saying what do you want to see, what you don't want to see. And there you go. Voila. Voila. There's your screen tones. Oh my God. It's like not magic. It is called digital and technology. Simple, right? And then you could just keep on doing that to several things. Just, you know, copy, paste, right? Set your layer mask, set that to black, and then paint it back in to white. Oh my goodness. That is some craziness. That is some craziness. 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 Are we there? Yeah, we're there. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. There you go. There you go. Now, as far as toning techniques, special effects, and all that good jazz, I'd more than love to demonstrate that to you, but I don't want this video to go on too long. So if you have any extra questions about that, just let me know. Just let me know, basically, and I'll add them in. But other than that, this is basically it. And I'm just going to go ahead and mess around and finish this out. So this will be the first tutorial for the year, I guess. Yeah, this is the inauguration of 2021 videos for this channel. Hopefully it wasn't too complicated for you. Hopefully. Hopefully. And then this method, especially with the clipping mask, you don't ever delete like your tone. And since you save your tones out to like, it makes it easier for you to fix mistakes. And since your tone is saved, you could always go back and add to it. Another option is making like a screen tone out of like prints and patterns, and you could always layer it on. Like for example, I always set it to multiply. Gotta set them to multiply. Let's see if this will work, because sometimes tones can be very funny creatures. Yeah. Okay. Look at that. That's it. So yeah, hopefully it was helpful for you guys. And I've been on for about an hour, so if there's any last questions, let me know. If not, I might do this again, maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks from now. I'll set it up. I'll see. It depends. It depends on family, when they come to visit. If they don't come to visit, what's going on, all that good jazz. Special effects like cross-hatching. Or even, better yet, airbrushing. Get myself to do this. Dissolve. There you go. Let's lower this flow. There you go. I'm just like airbrushing queen here. And then, ooh, move that. Let's see. Then you got cross-hatching. You know what? Honestly, sometimes I think I do comics because I just have fun doing this kind of art. That sounded like a confession. That's the thing, like once you know what the real thing looks like, once you actually have an example of the real thing, like it's gonna look good because you know what it's supposed to look like. That's the other thing. You really should just look at examples. Now I just look like I have like a ton of light coming up from back. I look like I'm having a bunch of light coming from back there. Let's lessen this a little bit. Let's not go overboard. Cross-hatching for the win. And sometimes being a little bit messy with the, well, the line art's pretty sketchy, so be a bit messy here. I think, there you go. Ian. Let's see, did I did the medium gray? I think I did copy the medium gray. It's the extra dark that I didn't get. Well then, copy. I'm gonna do some extra dark. Sounds like a chocolate. Let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna try something else. That's the other thing. You should always be willing to try something else. Try something out. So we're gonna try this babe out. Yep. I think it'll... Okay. How to make a tone automatically be a gradient tone. I did do it. Wow. It actually worked, you guys. See, that's the thing. It's just like once you actually just play around with things, then you realize how to... Oh, wow. See? I just learned something. I just tested out something and I learned something, and look at that. La-di-da. There you go. There you go, folks. It pays to experiment. I'm honestly just really messing around with the whatchamacallit, the this right here, the clipping mask. There you go. I added some ombre shades. Yo, I should go back to making comics real quick. Let's see. That's the thing about practice. Like over time, you're just gonna end up like learning new things that you did not expect to do. But it's fun anyways. And that's honestly what got me to like start recording, was like I keep forgetting how I did something. There you go. Like, I know everybody uses Manga Studio, but I just spent so many years knowing how to use Photoshop that I could just accidentally learn something. There you go. Alright, I think that should be good, right? I think so. Okay. Last but not least is this right here. Do not forget the bonnet. The bonnet is part of every curly girl hair routine. Actually, it used to be part of like ladies' routine in general, but I guess we just didn't do that anymore. I guess it's just a thing that we don't do anymore. I think that's it, right? This is good, right? This is good, right? This is good. This is good. I think that's it, yeah. Because I'm winding down now. Yeah, I think I'm winding down right about now, right? Alright, guys. Well, this will be a good night now. Thank you all for, like I said, a few people coming in. So, it was good. It was good. Nighty night. 1990.